10 Chancery Lane Gallery opened its doors in May 2001. The gallery focuses on both established and emerging artists from around the world. TILLY is the founder and director. Katie, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
You have a lovely backdrop there. Before we get into the interview, can you tell me about the backdrop? It looks just fascinating. You have Bombay and things like that. Tell us about that.
Actually, it's a shutter door piece by the artist from India, Atul Dodia. And he made a series of shutter doors where actually it comes down like a shop door, and there's a painting underneath. So this one is reflecting on the situation of the 90s in, the 90s in Bombay and the Taj Mahal bombings.
How did you come to settle in Hong Kong and choose this career?
Well, really, it's all chance. My husband, we were looking to move sort of towards the emerging markets. We were living in Germany. We were thinking going more east, and my husband got a job in Hong Kong. So we went very far east, and in 1994. So we moved out here, and then I became very involved with the art scenes that were just in development. So from China, from Vietnam, from Thailand, from a lot of Southeast Asia, and even Australia. So I was very interested in all of that, and opened the gallery in 2001.
What do you love most about living and working in Hong Kong?
Well, Hong Kong is an extremely vibrant city. I mean, you've seen it a million times on TV, but what's so wonderful about Hong Kong is the efficiency and how easy it is to get things done. So opening up a business, connecting with the audience, it's a small town and a big town. But just working day to day is so efficient and so easy. People are super hardworking and good willing. So that's been really a pleasure working in Hong Kong.
Tell us about 10 Chancery Lane, the art that you deal in, and your objectives.
So initially, 10 Chancery Lane Gallery opened to bring art from the West to Hong Kong. At the time, there were very few galleries, maybe a handful. And there wasn't a lot of Western art being shown here. But because I became so interested in the local scene, the Chinese art scene, the development of like really the birth of art scenes from different countries around Asia, that we switched very quickly to focus on art from the Asia Pacific and sort of, start the conversation globally with what that is. And I think actually that conversation has not been fully told. The artists from this region, it's art from anywhere in the world. It's a global story, but it's a village story. So it's what's happening locally that can relate to people internationally. And what is the human side of art? What are the inspirations? What are the influences as far as cultures and backgrounds go? I think that the world globally knows very little about what's happening in this region.
Unless we watch the news, and I've been told I must detox from watching the news. It loves the miserable stuff, the news, I find, and it's getting far too miserable for my small mind. When you first opened, and say till now, actually let's go back a bit. When you first got involved in the art industry or movement, how have your goals or aims or just thoughts changed?
Well, I did it very spontaneously. I didn't have a long-term business plan. My business plan has been passion and seeking those stories of individual human beings. And I've been very lucky to connect with great artists from early on and who are still with me today. So that's really wonderful. And I think there's so much history involved. So how my goals changed, um, I don't know. I think it's an unfolding story. I think
Mm.
it's an unfolding story of art history in the happening. Um, of course, we hope to continue to make money along the way and to have our artists be successful in their careers. That comes with, economic times going up and down, which we've seen many times over already. Um, but whether in any time of history, whether it's during wars, the Great Depression, art is still being made and art history is still being written. So we're just part of this evolving story.
Mm. Tell us about some of the major projects you've been most involved in locally, such as Art Power HK, HK Forward.
So I've been involved with because of the art gallery and the growing art scene. I was part of the founding of the Hong Kong Art Gallery Association. So that was really the art galleries coming together as there started to be more and more galleries. So we went from a handful to about 65 galleries in Hong Kong. So we found a need to kind of come together to find a cohesive place to have a website, people to find the art, as well as engage with the local audiences. So I've also been involved with something called the Hong Kong Artist Residency Abroad funding scheme, which funds artists from Hong Kong who would like to go abroad and do artist residencies. I found that many of the Hong Kong artists could really benefit from engaging with other artists around the world and having that opportunity. So we started that. As well as the Hong Kong Forward exhibition that we do every year, which is since 2012, we go to all the grad shows and we choose a selection, which we're doing right now, of Hong Kong art graduates to have their first show ever, so to have that experience. And, with no other ambition except for them to have that experience, right? So really keeping it very open-ended for them and get some sort of first publicity for themselves. And as well, getting involved with local artists and driving those conversations. And as well, of course, right now we've started Art Power HK, which has been a sort of a big gap because of the situation right now and how to continue the conversation. So we started it quite early as late February and March, to start to engage a global audience in conversations, allow all of our partners to put content in order to, really have a continued conversation. And we're finding that's really interesting. Online talk, live talks on the site as well. So it's been a communicating network. It's a campaign. So, and we're finding it to be so good that we want to continue it. We're still in this situation, but we didn't know how long it's going to last. But I think that we're finding that this Art Power HK is a very positive online platform.
Describe Hong Kong's art scene and how it's changed since you've been there.
Well, as I said, it's a big city, but it's a small town at the same time. It has changed in the fact that there's become a commercial side to it. Hong Kong is the third largest art auction place in the world, after New York and London. And China's quickly overpassing that as well. So but it's just allowed an opportunity for more local artists and regional artists to have a place to have, exhibitions. A gallery is a first place that an artist has an exhibition. The artwork goes from the studio being made into that commercial place to be shown. And so as Hong Kong is becoming much more of an international art market, it allows that that exchange arena. And it so in turn allows more Hong Kong artists to have a place to show their artwork. As well, it is an access point to the great big market of China, which is now, was really driving the Chinese art market, and of course will continue to do so. But it is also embracing the international art market and artists from all over the world. So a lot of galleries are really engaging with China via Hong Kong as a base. So that is a sort of conversation going backwards and forwards.
What about emerging artists in Hong Kong? Is it as difficult an environment at the moment to establish as a new artist as, say, in other cities? Because at the moment there's a lot happening. We have COVID, we have unrest, we have all sorts of things that we don't want to talk about. But is that impeding an artist's drive to become established, to move forward?
Well, if you read the stories of art history, and most artists in the world, in every city in the world, it's like winning the jackpot to become a famous artist sometimes, but it doesn't happen easily. There are so many challenges to being an artist. Of course, the beginning of the career, either you're very lucky or you must sacrifice many years in order to continue to get that recognition. I would say it was much harder 20 years ago for Hong Kong artists to get on the international stage, where we have more galleries really promoting Hong Kong artists today and Asian artists as well. So I think it's a very difficult city in New York to be an artist, or Los Angeles or Sydney and Hong Kong. And, those are big cities. I mean, imagine even smaller towns. But I would say that Hong Kong has a good footing now, and the great drivers that can push that forward happening.
If somebody wants to find out more about 10 Chancery Lane Gallery, in fact, when we can start flying again safely, how can they find you? Besides being online, tell us about where you're at.
Well, my space, as you can tell, the name is the address, which is Chancery Lane, which is, when I opened the gallery, on the back wall of the old Central Police Station and Victoria Prison. And so all the streets around me are called Old Bailey, Arbuthnot, Chancery Lane. So it's the justice area of former Hong Kong, and now has been converted into a heritage art site called Tai Kwun. So we're just on the back wall of Tai Kwun. It's a little walking lane. It's looking at the heritage granite wall. It's I would say it's quite a charming place. So.
And what about for the electronic media, the web address?
Yes, it's 10chancerylanegallery.com.
Katie de TILLY, thank you very much, and enjoy the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.